founder and president of the Article 3 Project, Mike Davis, also the former law clerk to Justice Neil Gorsuch, and also reaction to this developing story, civil rights attorney Ken Belkin. Gentlemen, welcome in today. Great to see you both.
Thank you.
Okay, so obviously we're looking at the grand jury right now inside this building, the meeting with the lawyers. Mike, first to you, that sort of, gives you the inclination this is imminent, this could be happening. What is Jack Smith up to here? I mean, the charges that were in that target letter, so expansive, and some say don't even apply.
Well, this is obvious lawfare by the Biden Justice Department. It's what we've been talking about since last August. They are bringing these bogus indictments against President Trump for non-crimes, whether it's the non-crime of a businessman settling a nuisance claim that we saw up in New York, or a president having his presidential records, which he's allowed to have with Jack Smith's first indictment. Now they're going to indict Trump apparently for the non-crime of objecting to a presidential election, which is allowed by the Electoral Count Act of 1887. It's also allowed by the First Amendment.
Yeah, hey, Ken, so we read the Truth Social post by Mr. Trump, and he said no indication of notice was given during the meeting. Does that stand out to you? I mean, is that unusual in a case like this, that there's been no notice given?
I mean, usually investigations are done in secret. Grand jury proceedings are held in secrecy. So the lack of notice, it doesn't surprise me. And it's not like he's received zero notice. He's obviously posting about it on Truth Social. And I think we're going to get an answer to the old riddle, how many indictments until it constitutes election interference?
Well, that's, a huge part of this. And that's what a lot of Americans are seeing and feeling, especially with some of the questions now surrounding the sitting president. Would you think, too, Mike, I mean, if this indictment comes and we wait a few days to find out what's in it, is this going to be like a speaking indictment? You think they're going to try to lay out all the facts, or do you think it'll be sort of more coy about this, charge small, pile on charges later? Because he has a D.C. grand jury here. Let's face it, this is easy to get an indictment.
Well, Jack Smith's last indictment with the Mar-a-Lago, after the Mar-a-Lago raid, was very detailed. I would expect him to do another detailed indictment, because you're not just indicting any defendant here. You're indicting a former president of the United States who happens to be your boss's leading presidential rival for the next presidential election. So if they don't dot their I's and cross their T's here, they're making a big mistake. They're in unprecedented territory, and they need to make sure that they're doing it right. This is obviously political. It's obviously bogus. They're trying to take out President Trump because they fear they can't beat him in the next election.
Ken, how difficult will it be if this indictment is indeed handed down, and if it were to go to a trial, for former President Trump to find a fair jury in the District of Columbia?
I've said this over and over again. I think if he is indicted, and I think with respect to the New York indictment, I think there's a high chance that you're going to see a conviction. Juries and the jury pool in New York City and Washington, D.C., spoiler alert, it should come as no surprise, they are overwhelmingly anti-Donald Trump. They did not vote for him in large numbers in these districts from which the juries would be culled. And I think he's going to be hard-pressed to find a jury that is objective. And take it from me, I once sued the Trump Organization very early in my career in a Manhattan Supreme Court, where his criminal case is going to be pending. And I got to tell you, that was not an objective jury pool.
Right. Interesting.
Wow.
And I also just want to get, final question, Mike. I mean, there is sort of this looming, indictment here, but the court of public opinion will also play in a factor. We don't know if there'll be leaks from the indictment. We also know Trump, he's been very vocal. He'll continue to press on. He's not afraid to call Jack Smith deranged. And this will really play out in the next few months, as we also see what happened with Hunter Biden yesterday. There's a lot playing out there as well, with Devin Archer appearing for a transcribed interview on Monday.
Yeah, this is very political, and the American people do not like this, as evidenced by the polls. I think that Alvin Bragg's indictment of Trump won him the Republican nomination, and Jack Smith's indictments of Trump are going to win him back the White House.
All right, stay tuned. Buckle up. Mike Davis, Ken Belkin. Appreciate the insight, gentlemen. Thank you.